Hello, this is Dr. K. In this module, we're going to talk about the design of everyday objects, like doors, faucets, and lights. If you're at all interested in designing user interfaces for software applications, or even component interfaces that other developers will have to use, then understanding the principles involved in designing everyday objects is a great place to start. This module is based largely on the book The Design of Everyday Things by Donald Norman. Let's talk about doors. We'll start with a simple example. Can you tell from this picture which way the door opens? I'll give you 10 seconds to consider it, but feel free to pause the video and think about it for as long as you like. 10 seconds starting from now. Okay, let's look for some of the clues. From the picture, it looks as if the area on the left side is the inside of a building, and the area on the right side may be the outside of a building, or it may be some sort of courtyard or common area. A lot of times, doors will open out away from a building. In some places, this might even be mandatory due to fire codes. There's also what looks like a turning lever for a lock on the left side, which makes sense if that's the inside. Unfortunately, we can't see the hinges on the door, which would definitely tell us which way the door opens, because a door opens in the direction of its hinges. A key problem in answering this question is the handles on both sides of the door. They're exactly the same. Usually, handles are meant to be pulled, and horizontal bars are meant to be pushed. If one side had a bar and the other side had a handle, this would be an easy question to answer. Since both sides have a handle, perhaps the best we can do is guess that the door opens outwards. This example shows us that even with the simplest everyday objects, like doors, it's possible to get confused on how to use them. It seems a little crazy on the face of it. There are only two possibilities, push or pull. Donald Norman, the author of The Design of Everyday Things, would say that this is a classic case of poor design. Whoever designed the door did not think about the design from the point of view of someone who was going to use the door. Here's another example of poor design. In fact, this design was so poor that the owners of the door felt a need to post a user manual for it right on the front. I'll give you 10 seconds to pause the video and think about what design decision might have led someone to putting up a sign with instructions for how to use the door. And don't stop there. Think about how you might improve upon this door's design. 10 seconds starting now. Okay, well, since the sign is telling people to press the button to open the door, it must be there because people were trying to pull the handle and the door wasn't opening for them. The button on the handle is really not that much help. If the door is unlocked, why do I need a two-step process to open it? And why does that two-step process require a push and then a pull? Furthermore, the button doesn't even stand out. It's silver, just like the handle. And it also looks a lot like the lock on the door. Probably the easiest way to fix this problem is to get rid of the button altogether. Or if you had a problem with the door drifting open because it wasn't latched, you could put a handle on the door that you would have to turn. This one's kind of funny. The handle is saying, "Pull me," but there's a label just above the handle that says, "Push." Not only that, but the label doesn't really stand out. It's quite difficult to see because it's etched on the door plate. Okay, so what would be the easiest fix for this design problem if I gave you 10 seconds starting from now? Ready? I don't know about you, but it seems to me that removing the handle is the easiest solution. Keep the gold plate on the door because when somebody sees a plate, they're probably inclined to push it. Here's another good example of a confusing door design. The door is glass and there are similar handles on both sides. Fortunately, there are instructions on the glass, and the instructions are written in many different languages. Unfortunately, those instructions are visible from both sides of the door. True, you can eventually figure out whether to push or pull based on whether the word you are looking for is spelled forward, meaning you're looking at the correct instruction, or backward, meaning that you're looking at the instruction for people on the other side of the door. You'll eventually figure this out, but you can also eventually figure out a door by just trying to push and pull it until you get it right. The point is, you shouldn't have to do that. We don't want to spend our time and energy trying to figure out what to do with a door. We go through doors dozens of times each day. We have better things to do and think about. This is an example that I have experienced when I worked in industry. My company spent millions of dollars to redesign everyone's offices so that they could bring clients through and show them how cutting edge we were supposed to be. And the result really was beautiful. Lots of light and glass everywhere. But our glass conference room had a door that opened into the room rather than out. That may seem fine, but I'm sure that many of you know what it's like to sit through a meeting that was supposed to last 15 minutes and ends up lasting an hour and a half. As soon as you're permitted to leave, you're going to head straight towards that door, and you're going to push that door outwards because unless there's some obvious indication of how that door opens, your instinct is to keep moving forward. I cannot tell you how many times I pushed that door hard enough to hear the glass rattle. Perhaps fortunately for me, my contract ended before I inadvertently broke the door. And keep in mind that this happened again and again, even though I know that that door opened inward. It's just that which way a door opens is the last thing I'm thinking about when I come out of a long meeting. Anyway, take a look at the door in this picture. Take 10 seconds or pause the video and see if you can spot the signifier that tells you which way this door opens. 10 seconds starting now. Ready? The thing that tells you which way this door opens is here. This is a door stop for a glass door. It's meant to prevent doors on offices and conference rooms, apparently, from swinging out into the hallway and hitting someone. Although, since the doors are glass, presumably you would see the person before you hit them. Notice that there are no visible hinges on this door. The hinges are inside the metal casings on the right side of this door. There's one hinge up top and one hinge at the bottom. In fact, if the doorstop were not there, this door would be able to swing in both directions. I was reading somewhere on the internet that because some designers consider these doorstops an eyesore, they recommend sliding glass doors to their clients instead. I thought it was interesting that they mentioned a problem concerning how the door looks, but they did not mention a problem concerning how the door would be used by the people that had to interact with it.